Many people are talking about a video which has emerged apparently showing Greek coast guards trying to sink a small raft packed with refugees. Greek authorities are denying that that's what happened. Jose, in the video you can see a Greek coast guard. Clearly, he looks to be carrying a large hook or a lance type pole thing, and he's when these refugees come up to the boat, to the side of their vessel, he's like kind of going at the raft really violently. So the Greeks are saying no, we were trying to pull them in closer so we can save them. Turks are saying something different. We have the video for you guys. You can check it out. Here it is. It's 58 refugees packed on a very small raft trying to get on this vessel. Watch.
Alıyorum. Şu anda.
Now that is one short clip of a much longer one. You can see it from different angles if you guys want to search that for yourselves on YouTube. From that clip alone, it could go both ways, I guess. Yeah. You could say that he's trying to hook them in and bring them. You could also clearly say that he's trying to sink the ship. All I do know, though, is after that one clip that we saw, you can clearly see this ship. I mean, it's a raft. It's very small. Is sinking. It's half sunken. People are waving, and then it's eventually the Turkish Coast Guard that brought them on their own vessel. What do you think, Jose?
I mean, it's very unfortunate. We see that the Greek authorities are on their last strand. They really have been overloaded with migrants and with refugees in the last year alone, but in the 5 years of the conflict, really. And we'll see, unfortunately, we will see this type of attitudes, this type of policies where they really can't take any more refugees, but this is inhumane and it shouldn't be permitted. But unfortunately, the amount of people that is trying to get out of Syria and into Europe, it's more than what authorities can actually handle.
Yeah, over 500,000 refugees have come by sea this year alone into Greece. Not to mention, who knows how many are going to come in the following months and years. Who knows how long this is going to drag on for. But, I mean, we're talking about a country, Greece, who's, struggling with their own problems, and then this on top of it. But I don't think that's a good excuse. Obviously, you're not saying that it's justifying this. No, you're not saying that. But still, I mean, if we look at the numbers alone, look at Turkey, for example, who ended up saving these refugees. If that's how it went down. I mean, in Turkey, there's over 1.6 million alone who have fled there. So this is a huge problem for these countries who are kind of seen as the gateway into Europe, and then they're really inundated with this large amount of refugees, and they really don't know how to handle it. I don't know if I'd be quick enough to jump in and say, yeah, they're definitely trying to sink it. It definitely looks like he is, but
it doesn't seem like he's trying to help.
No, it doesn't. Sure. But like, as a human, I can't really understand how you would do that. I mean, you see women, children, babies. It's unfathomable how somebody can try to sink a boat like that. It's just
there's no forgiveness, there's no condemnation of it, but it makes me think about like you said, the amount of refugees that these countries are receiving and the amount of refugees that the U.S. have received or have accommodated, and the current state of the attitudes toward refugees that are developing in this country. We just received 1,900 refugees. In the 5 years of the conflict, only 1,900 refugees have been relocated to the United States. The GOP just passed legislation to prevent any further Syrian refugees from coming. And at the end, we are not taking into account that the U.S. is also part of the problem, is the initiation of the problem with the Bush administration going in, to Iraq, taking away any stability in the region in many different ways. And now it's saying, well, there's a problem. We don't really know how to help you guys, especially those displaced. 8 million or 9 million people displaced by this conflict.
And when you see a video like this, when you see babies and children and people screaming and waving their hands, I think it really allows you to see that these are people. They are not refugees, as we call them all the time, or immigrants, or whatever you want to call them. We use these words again and again and again, but we don't realize that these are people who are running away from war-torn Syria or Iraq or wherever they're coming from. And it kind of brings the human side to it, because it's hard to see that in the news. And when you see, thousands of people rushing these borders, you seem to forget, especially with the kind of hatred that's being spewed from the right, whether it's in Europe or here as well.
Yeah, and it's a problem. Xenophobia is having a second birth in the as a
is.
global attitude. Like you mentioned, it's not only in the United States, it's in Europe too, where people are saying, well, wait a minute, let's take a minute and see if we can really help, if it's in our best interest to help these refugees, because it's going to reshape the demographics of the continents, it's going to reshape. But this is something that is happening in the world, and we can just turn away and say, well, it's going to go away, because it's not.
Right, and that's complete bullshit that, the demographics will be tainted by these people that are coming in, rushing the borders. That's complete bullshit. I mean, if you look at the numbers, you take in hundreds of thousands of refugees, you're still not even at 1% of the population of the entirety of Europe. So please, don't give me that crap. And, it just makes no sense. Again, it's excuses, right? It's excuses that people give. Same. I was talking about it earlier with Margaret. It's that whole terrorist excuse. Well, even if 1 in 20,000 is a terrorist, I don't care. That's enough for me. So I sometimes think, what could be a solution to make everybody happy? And I'm talking about here in the U.S. Obviously, some people on the right might want to say, let's take in zero. We have to think of security first. Yeah. You look at the opposite. Liberals will be more open to the idea of bringing them and resettling them here. Sometimes I feel like maybe a good alternative to try, it's impossible to make everybody happy, but maybe something closest to that would be some sort of program where we give a lot of money. Not aid, but by bringing them here. But I mean, talking about giving money to these countries like Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey, Greece, that are doing all the work and just helping a lot. Because anyway, we're going to spend money, even if we take in 10,000 is nothing. That is a symbolic number, dude. What is 10,000?
For the conflict, nothing.
It's a drop in the endless sea of refugees. So 10,000 is not going to help anything.
Not only that, we'll see that the Syrian refugees are making their way all the way to the border in the U.S. Just this week, 2 different sets of Syrian refugees surrender themselves to border authorities looking for refugee status. So they are willing to risk everything because they have nothing left back in Syria. It's decimated by war. It's very dangerous. If they don't align with ISIS, if they don't fight for the rebels, if they don't fight for Assad, they pretty much don't have any business being in Syria. So they are trying to fly away from a horrible situation, and that's what they receive. People trying to puncture rafts, governors and lawmakers trying to close the doors in their faces, and they're just being destituted into whatever, to their own fate.
Right. Well, these Greek Coast Guards, whether they're trying to help or not, is very unclear. They won't admit to anything. We're hearing a different story from Turkey. But either way, no matter what it was, this is part of a much, much, much bigger crisis.